Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of the Roaring Agents podcast. My name is Mike Roy. I'm going to do a special bonus episode of Mikeonomics. There's a lot going on. Got a lot of graphs and stats and stuff that I want to share with you. And I'm recording this for YouTube so you can see the graphs for a change. So if you're listening to just the audio, here's a chance. Go check out the YouTube channel and you can see all these graphs. So I wanted to start here with the active listings versus new listings. I was talking to Ann Stewart and she was asking me some questions and I was like, okay, I need to dive into this to really see what these numbers look like. From 2000, I think this chart's from 2002 till today, we rarely got above 5,000 listings, new listings in the month of March. Now this is just March. And this is not going to be the highest inventory of any year, but I wanted to show across March. We hit over 15,000 active listings in 2007. Yeah, 2008. So active listings hit that high, but the new listings have never gotten above 5,000. But here's the thing, we're right around 3,000 new listings and under 2,000 for active listings. That's just insane. And when you consider that we've probably added another 200 or more thousand people to the Portland metro area, this is crazy that we don't have more listings. So anytime we're talking about what's going to happen in the market, where it's going to be, I need to look at this. I need to look at what's available. Now, I'm going to get into some other graphs in a minute, but there is a ceiling. There's a ceiling on the price, obviously. You can't just go up to infinity. So let's look at the next graph. National payment to income ratio. Now, this is a national number, but I have to imagine Portland's here. There's other places in the South, places that didn't really get a lot of attention until the pandemic happened and people could remote work and go to these cheaper areas, which are having huge surges. But Portland, I have to imagine, is somewhere near the ceiling of prices. It's just insane. Now, I've got some other charts that would say no, but we'll get to that in a minute. So right now we're at 29% of the payment towards income, which is getting into what 2004 territory where things got a little nuts. Now, these were very bad loans. These were called liar loans, where if you could fog up a mirror, you can get a loan. These are very well qualified people, but that doesn't mean it's not cutting out a ton of people. There is talk of wage growth. I don't have any charts on that this time, but this is just gone really nuts. It was somewhere at 18%. Now it's 29% in just 2 years. This is taking a lot of hit. And there is that question, in 2003, 2004, I had people saying, I can't afford a house. I can't buy a house. Then the run up happened and people got scared that they weren't going to be able to find a house. And then they're like, okay, we're ready to buy. I was like, prices are up 15%. Well, I didn't say this actually, but this is what I'm thinking. Prices are up 15%. How can you buy a house now? And they still figured it out. And I think that's kind of what's happening now. Once the market shows a little bit of weakness, I really think it's going to be like a bully punched in the face where they just kind of fall. The market prices will fall at some levels, at some places. I don't think they're going to happen under $400,000. I think a lot of the frothy market around up above 7 and all that, I could see some weakness. It really comes down to that consumer confidence. Construction spending is just been nuts. The thing is there's a supply chain and builders got burned. 2008 is not very far away. And there's a lot of builders who are not going to overextend themselves and get stuck. So the spending is there. That doesn't mean that it's all going to turn into homes right now, but it's at least interesting to see how the spending is. But percentage wise, the spending here shows it's 850 billion, where it was just under, it's probably about 775 billion at the peak in early 2006. And then it just fell off. I mean, man, that fell off. And I look at these charts because it's so hard in real estate to really see what's happening until you can see that whole picture. This is why I track pendings every day. I track new listings every day. And you're going to see a chart on, it's early chart. I think I have another one, but just those listings are really going to help me see where things take off, because we had a year of really strong inventory growth, but prices still went up. So there's a chance that it still may do that, where we're going to see this all of a sudden, this weakness, but just not realize it if we're not looking at the numbers. Existing home sales, I throw this up there just to see this bottom was in 2010, 3.4 million homes were sold at the worst time in 2010, where it really bottomed out. The previous peak was in 2005, where it was 7.26 million homes were sold. Right now we're sitting at 6 million. Even though we've grown, we're not seeing that, where you can't really take the bump here and fill in where we missed all those years. And that's true with the home sales. This shows just how little there have been of completed homes. It was going up, it was growing pretty good. But then it just fell off the cliff. Obviously, when the pandemic happened, a lot of people got scared. Then we started having supply chain issues. And this goes back to 1973, this chart I'm looking at, and we're at a third of where it was normal for construction spending, for completed new homes, which this is actually kind of insane that, we had a period between 2005 and late 2009 where we got above 100, almost 200 million units, 200,000 units, sorry. And really from 73, we've been chugging along, making the same amount of homes every year. That's kind of crazy to me that part's not going up, but we are way behind. We have not really filled in the gap for all the new people that have been here since 1973. Now, when we look at our appreciation in home prices, this chart is amazing. The United States is 50% higher than the first quarter of 2001, which is, you take in the recession and everything. Britain is up 94%, which is interesting. Look at the chart though. They didn't take quite the fall that we did. We basically lost a decade. We come back down to where we were in 2000. If you look in 2012, Britain did not take that same fall, which is why they are 94% higher. They're not quite back up to their peak, and we are about back up to our peak. So it's interesting looking at other places. Really, with the inflation, it's fun to look around the country as well. I'm not going to bore you with that number right now. This is Altos Research. I follow Mike Simonson. He's been on the podcast before talking about the market. One of the things they track is the immediate sales, homes that sell within the first week. And this is an amazing number. Basically, a third of all homes are gone in the first week. And that, if you look at how far this chart goes back, which is January of 2021, it's like, I don't know, 15% of the homes versus 30. And that's really not slowing down yet, surprisingly. This is a chart that I'm going to continue to watch. And the properties relisted, that is at just a record low, not a record low, but it is in some bottom territory. I think a lot of these other lows are right around Christmas, which is interesting. There's a huge dip on all of these, but currently only 3,700 relists. Now, I know a lot of these homes go in backup position or have backup offers, and then those sell. But this just shows that those backup offers exist, that demand exists. I just closed a deal where we were in backup offer position. I didn't think we were going to do it, but the cash deal got flimsy, and they came up with a really weird excuse, or not excuse, but just why they wanted out. And so we got it. And I think that's happening a little bit, where people are jumping in, overbidding, and then kind of change their mind to have a little bit of buyer's remorse. But those backup buyers are there. And that's, I don't see any of this slowing down for the next 3 months. It doesn't make sense in any way that it can. I find August to September could be very interesting. See if people just get fed up. It'd be interesting to see if a lot of people just pack it up for the rest of the year. Homeowner equity surges over the 26 trillion as the value of housing stocks passes 38 trillion. What I find really interesting is mortgage outstanding debt. We might be a sliver above where the debt was back in 2008, and our equity, which, that all looks really false now when you look back at 2008, but our equity is pretty nice. Even if it took a hit, we are still, the mortgage outstanding debt is equal to what it was in 2008. That gives me some hope that people were not pulling money out of the homes like an ATM. We've been much more disciplined with our credit and how we deal with our money. That's going to help this part of the market stay solid. Real estate is a very important part of the economy, which is why they tried to make loans available for so many people, because they knew that's important. If you live in a neighborhood as an owner, you treat it different than if you're a renter. Homeownership is a very important backbone to our economy. And this makes me feel that it's very solid. Now, the affordability index, obviously that's been talked about a lot because it's just gotten so incredibly, I was going to say bad, but it's just grown so much. But it's actually only a little bit above 2019. I feel that number. I pulled this chart like a week or two ago. I'm wondering if it's higher now. But we are actually historically pretty low. We're lower than, I think, all of the 80s. And we're equal to a little bit in the 90s and then before the bubble. So no, it's not great. It's not great at all. It would be great if it would come back down, if it was more accessible for all people. Like I said, we're going to hit a ceiling with all these prices. Here's a stat. I just want to kind of see where we were as far as the deals. I took a month snapshot of February 22nd through March 22nd of last year and this year. Closings are up 42. There's 42 more closings in that span. There were significantly more cash deals, 325 versus 371. Conventional went up a little bit, 1621 to 1634. And FHA, VHA, and just others actually dropped from 246 to 229. There's just not going to be a lot of those when there's multiple offers. Sellers and listing agents are going to take what's more guaranteed that's actually going to close, and they're worried about FHA appraisals. Basically, every single agent I coach and talk to, oh man, I got a deal, but I'm worried about the appraisal every single time. And really, I've only had a couple of them really have problems with the appraisals, which is good, but that is the big concern of everyone. I'm throwing this out there just to remind everyone what activity looks like. Even though we have record low inventory, last year we sold more homes than any time except for 2007. Now, this also makes sense and kind of makes to my point is we have a lot more people. So we're not keeping up with the amount of homes we need, and more people are here. This is why I just don't think that inventory, unfortunately, is ever going to break loose. I do think we're going to hit a limit on pricing. We're going to hit that ceiling, but that demand is going to be there. And I just don't see it changing. Homes off the market. This chart goes back to 2008, and it's 50% of homes are off the market in 28 days. Back in 2018, it was somewhere around 30, between 23 and 30. So we're way above that speed. I like to see these charts because it gives you much better numbers and statistics than looking at the past, 3 months or whatever. And that is what we got. That's Mikeonomics for this. I think we do this once a month or so. Let me know what stats you want to hear about, and I'll talk to you next time.